Muy buenas a todos, señores, señoritas, animales y lo que haya por ahí. Aquí estamos en otro vídeo de Genshin Impact. Hoy voy a hacer el evento potente, que a veces ya sabéis que hay un evento potente, y en esta ocasión se llama la conjetura del Nixie. Encima han añadido esta misión, que está bueno, la mostraré yo en un vídeo aparte y ya está. Pero, pues, vamos rápidamente a hacer esta. Y por supuesto, Furina, ya tocaba mostrarla un poquito. Porque, hostia, Furina es Furina y hay que respetarla. ¡Pum! ¡Hostia! Eso ¿qué ha sido, Furina? Un cabezazo contra el suelo. A ver. Claro, iré pasando rápido el diálogo, de vez en cuando. Yo aviso ya.
Greetings, miss. Is there something that's bothering you? Oh, no, it's nothing. I'm
Sí, a esta ya la conocemos, que esta nos daba protogemas,
Oh, so you're adventurers. Oh, finally.
Qué bien, que
You were really bothered by something. Don't worry, you've got two super experienced adventurers.
Así se habla, Paimon.
Oh, you are exactly the helpers I need. See, the problem is that the fish around a fishing spot they disappeared too quickly for it to have been the work of human anglers. As the representative of the fishing association, right, but unfortunately, as the representative of the fishing association, they're... So you'd like us to investigate the spot for you? Exactly, you're right, Anamora. So I thought I could delegate this work to you. Are you two some kind of
Hombre, ya te hemos dicho que somos aventureros.
Yeah, we're just really experienced in this kind of thing, that's all. Well, I'm glad to hear it. I'll get a good night's sleep knowing the two of you are on the case. But don't we just need to investigate the missing fish? It really doesn't sound too difficult. No, you mustn't let your guard down. As the representative of the Fishing Association, I have good reason to believe that the fish have gone missing.
¿Cómo que Nixies?
Yes, you're both Outlanders, right? No? Our local fairy tales often speak of a terrifying underwater creature called Velxi. The story our parents would tell us was always the same. If we went to the water alone, then we'd be snatched away and eaten by a water imp called Velxi. A child eating water imp? Did they tell you what it looked like? My father would always describe it as a beautiful, multicolored snake woman, while my mother said it had a handsome face. It's really strange, though, because you'd also hear other people describe it as just a chubby penguin with a deceptive appearance. Even though the tales vary regarding its appearance, everyone agrees that it's really dangerous. It lives in an underwater cave surrounded by pallid bones and uses its sensitive nose to track down lonely children who've lost their way. And once it finds a child, it uses its alluring singing voice to lure them into the water before swallowing them all. Pretty terrifying, isn't it?
Esto parece Pennywise,
Sounds kind of scary. But isn't that pretty normal for a fairy tale? After all, those kinds of stories are usually made up to help keep children... But what if the fairy tale was inspired by a real-life tale?
Correcto.
Just like how a water vein
¿Tienes evidencias de ello?
Well, I wouldn't call it evidence per se, but I've heard some rumors lately. They say that someone recently saw a child walk into the water as if he was possessed by something. Doesn't that sound just like he was responding to the call of a water imp? So you mean someone really got eaten by a water imp? It's all hearsay, so it's hard to confirm. But still, they all say this happened on Irenaeus. That's no laughing matter if you ask me. Both the Opera House and the Fountain of Lucine were built there, and the sources of many water veins can be traced to the island as well. Combine that with the mysterious mist, the huge tree with expansive underground roots, and the rumor that the fish heps on the island can understand human language...
Bueno.
Is it really so shocking that an island so shrouded in mystery could harbor a terrifying water imp as well? Why does Paimon feel like you're pulling our leg? You're just piling on the rumors now.
Iremos a echar un vistazo.
Oh, marvelous. Then I'll just mark the stretch of water on your map. Don't forget that no matter what, safety always comes first.
Al parecer en este juego los niños siempre pagan los platos rotos. Ya se sabe que los Fatuis se supone que además secuestran niños, o sea, es que es una locura. Los niños en este juego están en peligro, completamente. Vale, no sé si llegaré antes desde... Creo que desde aquí. Venga, a tope, escudo. Es que últimamente no sé qué le pasa al juego, que cuando tarda a veces en cargarse mucho y yo empiezo a hacer clics, ya del estrés, se sale el juego automáticamente. Madre mía. Es que Furina, mirad esto, tío. ¡Pum! De locos, esperad. La animación. Madre mía, es que qué belleza. Qué auténtica motivación. Vale, a ver. Ahí hay algo, ¿eh? He visto cositas. Bueno. Hay huellas. Bueno, si tú dices que hay huellas, es que hay huellas. Se extienden hasta el agua. A ver, ¿qué ocurre aquí? What's happening?
Wait, did you hear something just now?
Viene del agua. El sonido se escucha cada vez más fuerte. Sale hacia la superficie. Hostia.
Paimon? Traveler?
¿Freminet?
I'm sorry. I forgot I was still wearing this.
Freminet se quita la escafandra.
Paimon, are you okay?
Paimon nearly mistook you for a water imp. Thank goodness it was just you wearing your helmet.
Huh? A water?
Estamos buscando pistas de un Nixie llamado Thelxie.
Thelxie, you say? How surprising.
Huh? You know that name too? Or do you know someone else who's trying to investigate the water imp?
No. I think our situations are probably unrelated.
¿Podrías contarnos qué sabes al respecto?
Sure, if that's in order. I know the name because of one of my employers. She noticed the clockwork penguins I brought to the workshop and contacted me through the shop's owner. She has commissioned me to make a special toy.
Ah, bueno.
Following her request, I've named the toy
Qué
Thelxie.
casualidad.
Huh? But isn't it a little creepy to name a
Qué
toy
casualidad.
after a water imp? Wait, hold on! Fremina, you never take commissions from other people!
Yeah, but, she made a special request, but out of respect for her privacy, I can't really talk about it. It's alright though. She'll be coming over to check on my progress shortly, and I'll just tell her that you're two of my trustworthy companions. Hearing that, she might be willing to share some information, and you'll be able to continue with your investigation.
Huh. Even though you seem a little cold and reserved sometimes, you're still really considerate. Our target isn't necessarily the water imp, though.
The fish?
Bueno, tras contarle tal, Freminet asiente con gesto pensativo. De repente se atraganta con su propio aliento. ¿Cómo es posible eso?
I think I may have connected the dots.
¿Cómo te puedes atragantar con tu aliento,
I've been
Freminet?
taking Thelxie for underwater testing every day. The pressure testing makes a lot of noise.
Muy bien.
So, all that about the disappearing fish? Well, it was probably because of me.
So that's all it was? That actually makes a lot of sense. Wait, so could that mean the child we heard about who walked into the water was also...
Freminet disponiéndose a realizar otra prueba del juguete.
Yes, I think that's quite likely as...
So in the end, it was just Fremine! Paimon spent all this time imagining what a water imp from the fairy tales might look like, and it all turns out to be just a hoax.
I'm sorry. It sounds like I've created a lot of trouble for everyone else as well. I'll try to finish this commission as soon as possible.
Sí,
Once
estaremos
I'm
encantados de
done,
ayudarte.
Thanks for offering. But I can't trouble you any more than I already...
Hey, it's no trouble at all! Didn't you just call us your trustworthy companions? Companions are all about helping each other, you...
But
Qué bonitas palabras,
don't you
Paimon.
need to report back to your commissioner?
Nope, that's not how it works. See, Paimon's got these commissioner types all figured out. Even though if we tell them now that it was all just a misunderstanding, you can bet they'd just immediately hand us another commission to help them get the fish back.
Sí, ya llevamos mucho tiempo haciendo esto.
Exactly. So if we can help you finish up your work and get the fish back, that would save us an extra trip.
Is that what you'd like to do as well?
Aunque me duela, Paimon tiene toda la razón del mundo.
All right, I'll trust your judgment. Please follow me. I've made a makeshift camp over there.
De acuerdo, vamos para allí. Disfrutemos del espectáculo.
I've stored Thelxie in the tent. He
Hostia,
can respond to some
qué
simple
bonito.
verbal commands. You can try calling his name and see if he'll come over.
Qué bonito.
Oh, sounds pretty advanced. Let Paimon give it a try. Hey, Foxy, are you there?
Qué bonito, de verdad. Un momento, aquí hay algo que brilla. Diario de desarrollo de Texi 3. Mira, aquí está el 1 y el 2. Bueno, yo lo dejo ahí, por si alguien lo quiere leer. A ver, el 2. Ahí. Muy bien, perfecto. Y el 3, no sé si habrá 4. Pero vale, ahí está. A ver, amigo. Uy, ¿aquello qué es? Solamenalina. En este no incluye una nota en la que se lee de estrés. Hostia, cuidado. Cuidado. A ver. Telsi Rapis. Vale, sí. Habla en código Morse. Lo que pasa es que eso, claro, no lo vamos a poder leer ahora porque no tengo el alfabeto delante, así que...
Yep. Had Thelxie lived in Penguin Town, he'd probably have become great friends with
¿Dónde se
Pear.
ubica la ciudad de los pingüinos?
It's not really anywhere famous or important. Don't worry about it.
Hey, Foxy, nice to meet you. Do you know how to say hello?
Vamos a pensar que eso es un sí. Entonces Telxi sabe hablar.
I wanted to install a language output module, but due to time constraints, I had to give up on the idea. As it stands, Thelxie can only output messages that were pre-written into its motherboard. I haven't given him the ability to convert those messages into discernible words, so he can't really talk to us just yet.
No need to get so technical. So basically, you want us to help you complete and install this language module, right?
No, there's no need. That wasn't one of my employer's requests. I have 2 other things I'd like your help with. The first is to do some integration testing on Thelxie's motherboard, to make sure he will be able to function properly in most situations.
That doesn't sound too hard. And what's the other thing?
The other shouldn't take too long either.
Caracolas.
You'll need to find
Pues muy
Thelxie
bien.
some colorful shells and coral, so I can craft a weapon for him.
A weapon? Will Foxy have to fight?
Thelxie will need to be able to charge forward with a weapon in hand, like that brave prince of legend. It's a part of my employer's request.
What an imaginative employer! Naming Foxy after a water imp, but wanting him to look like a prince?
Well, regardless of his role or species, Thelxie's purpose is the same. Just like Pear, he has come to this world to serve as somebody's companion.
Whoa, Foxy just said something again! Could he understand what we were just talking about?
He can react to certain key words, but unfortunately, due to the lack of a translation module, he still can't quite communicate with us.
That's a pity. But anyway,
Bueno,
the
poco a
most
poco,
important thing
paciencia, amigo.
right now is for us to get to work. Maybe let's start by doing some testing on the motherboard. That sounds like something we can do here in the camp.
Sounds good. The motherboard is on my workbench, so please follow me.
Follow me. Cada vez que escucho esa palabra... Bueno, son 2 palabras. Me acuerdo de Five Nights. Follow me.
Here we go. I have this testing manual, so feel free to reference it if you get stuck.
Vale,
Want
muy
to
bien.
give it a try? It's okay if you don't succeed immediately. I've got
Huele
a lot of
bien. A ver qué tal
backup
se me
boards
da
just
esto.
in case. Okay. Knowing you, I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out.
Gracias por confiar en mí, Freminet. Nunca había confiado tanto en mí. A ver... ¿Qué dices?
Please give the testing a try.
De acuerdo. Pues a ver, a por todas. Depurar la placa base, veamos. Haz clic izquierdo y arrastra... Vale, clic izquierdo, pam, no sé qué. Ah, bueno. Ah, vale, tengo que pasar por abajo, ¿no? Vale. Pulsa espacio para activar el circuito tras ensamblarlo. Vale. Ah, vale, pero hay que pasar por aquí y luego ir por ahí. Hasta aquí arriba, ¿no? No puedo girar, tío. ¿Cómo coño? No me deja girarlo. Bueno, pues si he alcanzado el límite... Ah, vale, lo tenía que borrar. Joder, vaya estafa, Vaya estafa. Bueno, pues bien. Gracias. Salir. A ver, Ferminet, ¿qué opinas? He hecho un avance.
You're doing well. Just as I expected.
We've taken on a lot of similar tasks before, you know.
Then let's move on to the underwater part. It's just as I mentioned earlier. We're after colorful shells and coral. Oh, speaking of which, you're both already pretty used to fontaines.
Somos unos expertos en eso también.
Okay, that's good. Just let me know if you ever feel uncomfortable. I'll make sure to stay right by your side.
Lo sé, Freminet, lo sé. Confiamos en ti también. Vale, entonces tenemos que ir justamente hasta ahí, A ver, ¿cómo coño vamos para allí? Desde aquí llegaremos antes. Poco a poco, señores. Lo importante es llegar. Y llegar, vamos a llegar. Venga, adelante. Tengo miedo. Perfecto. A ver... 140 metros. Claro, yo la primera vez que vi en un juego el código Morse fue... Hostia, en una buena época de juegos para mí. En Pokémon Rubí, que es el que yo tuve, el Pokémon Rubí. Claro, yo... Ahí fue la primera vez que vi lo del código Morse. Es que hasta la propia guía del juego te salía el alfabeto entero. Qué guapo eso. Parecía increíble en aquella época. Vale, sí. Perfecto, oye. Pam. Vale, material para armas de Delxi, sí señor. Pam. Y ahí estará la 3 de 3, supongo yo. Hostia, ¿qué hace aquí una nutria? ¡Qué bonita nutria! Vale, entonces tenemos que volver al campamento. Así que ya podemos teletransportarnos. Y creo que voy a estornudar, así que voy a intentar mutearme. Pero primero voy a hablar con... Uy, aquí hay alguien, Bueno, veamos qué ocurre. Yo voy a estornudar.
Ah, Fremine, you're back. I thought you might have been out diving.
I'm sorry, Madame Destray. I must have kept you waiting. I can report, though, that the construction of Thelxie is going quite smoothly.
There's no rush. I'm
Buah,
your
chaval.
employer, not
Qué a
your
gusto me he quedado. A
supervisor.
ver.
And these two are...
Somos...
Pues... They're two of my trustworthy companions. They're here to help me work on Thelxie.
Yes, I see. I suppose it's only natural for someone responsible like you to have some reliable friends.
It's really nice to meet you, Madame Destray. Are you Fremine's employer? Paimon is Paimon, and this is the Traveler.
Correcto.
Greetings, my new friends. Just call me Zuria. You are both so adorable. The sight of you reminds me of little fairies under a cottage roof.
Soy de las pequeñas hadas.
Oh, do you really think so?
Yo no floto.
Of course. If my child had friends like you, then perhaps he wouldn't have become so obsessed with the
Yo no he
tales
visto
of
ni
water
una hada en
nymphs.
este juego, creo.
Obsessed with the tales of water imps?
Ah, so you don't know anything about my request yet? I would have thought Fremine had explained it to you already.
Well, Fremine told us that it was a private matter, so he didn't want to just share it willy-nilly.
I see. So Monsieur Fremine is even more discreet than I had thought. As you are assisting him with the project, I believe it'll be beneficial for you to learn more about... But it would be quite impolite of me to simply pile all of my troubles on you without your permission. So, would you like to listen to my story?
Por supuesto, Zuria.
You can tell us anything. You've already said nice things about us, so we'll try our best to help you get through your troubles.
Ah, what a lovely little fairy. Then let me think of a way to put my situation into words.
Yo no estoy tan seguro de que Paimon
I'm
sea
sure
una
you're
hadita.
already familiar with the tale of the water imps, right? Simply put, parents came up with a story, painting water imps as scary abductors in an effort to convince their children to stay away from the water.
Infatuated? With a water imp? What a...
Yes.
Increíble.
He told me that he thought the water imp might have just been misunderstood. In his mind, instead of singing to abduct children, the water imp actually sang out of a longing for companionship.
Huh. So he wanted to become friends with the water imp so it wouldn't be lonely any longer? What a unique way of thinking.
Thank you, little Paimon. He indeed has always stood out from the crowd. He was actually diagnosed with loneliness syndrome.
Síndrome de soledad.
It's a type of mental disorder.
Oh.
Those affected by it often feel extremely lonely and lose interest in many mundane activities. The syndrome is probably what made him so determined to become friends with the water imp.
Oh no. Is it a very serious disorder?
If you were to become afflicted with the disorder, Paimon, you would only be able to say less than a fraction of the words you're saying to the traveler now.
No! Paimon won't accept that! We would have to find a doctor to help cure Paimon. Paimon has a 2,000-word quota for daily conversations with the traveler, and she won't settle for a single word less!
No, por favor.
The family doctor has already begun to treat my son, but since the disorder is rare, there aren't many good regimens for treatment. He's also developed some new symptoms lately, such as uncontrollable delusions.
Huh? Uncontrollable what now?
Uncontrollable delusions. To put it simply, he can no longer differentiate between fantasy and reality, and spends all his time in his fantasy world.
Then what is he seeing in his fantasy world?
It's a dream that he often mentioned to me when he was younger. I've compiled what I could understand of his recent rambling. It goes a bit like this.
Había una vez un enorme y hermoso reino conocido como el Reino de los Nixies, que se encontraba bajo el lago de la llanura abisal Salacia, a 500 leguas de profundidad. Allí convivían una infinidad de adorables Nixies. Establecieron sus hogares entre caracolas y corales de 100 colores. Durante el día cuidaban de criaturas marinas con esmero y durante la noche se paseaban a través de algas doradas tarareando diferentes canciones. Vivieron con máxima armonía hasta el día del peregrinaje iridiscente. Ese día se celebraba la llegada de un nuevo rey. Antes de ese día, los Nixies solían seleccionar la caracola más valiosa que tenían en su hogar y la envolvían con hojas y ramas doradas para entregárselas al venerado príncipe de los Nixies. Ese día el príncipe caminaría sobre ese puente multicolor construido sobre una torre de caracolas. Sería coronado entre las ovaciones del pueblo y entonces daría su bendición a todos los Nixies como nuevo rey. Y ese príncipe era el Telxi que ya conocemos. Telxi.
Amazing.
Telxi.
Your son came up with all of this? He really crafted a lovely fairy tale world for Thelxi.
Telxi.
But perhaps no beautiful dream can ever last long. You see, the story ended with a twist.
El peregrinaje decente llegó, pero trajo consigo montones de monstruos. Los siniestros, feroces y aterradores Nixies a los que tanto les encantaba cantar sucumbieron ante la invasión de su reino. Su rey murió, los Nixies fueron encarcelados y el puente multicolor acabó hecho cenizas. Bajo la protección de alguien misterioso que encubría su identidad con una máscara, el rey consiguió escapar. Sin embargo, después de haber perdido todo cuanto tenía, tan solo podía invertir hasta el último de sus días en murmurar tristes melodías. Solo un niño tan solitario y descorazonado como ese príncipe era capaz de escuchar tales melodías.
How could the story end like this? Is that kind of fantasizing what caused your son to develop his loneliness syndrome?
Hasta se ha puesto a llover.
Well, it'd be more accurate to say that it was the syndrome that caused such terrible delusions to manifest. But in any case, the biggest problem is the patient eventually loses themselves to the fantasy world of their own creation.
¿A qué te refieres?
My poor child can no longer differentiate between imagination and reality. He's begun to see himself as Thelxi.
Perhaps in his mind, the loneliness he felt became the same as that of a prince who...
What? So that's what you meant by uncontrollable delusions. Then we have to help him snap out of it.
Alas, Most of the time, he acts as if he can no longer sense or interact with the real world at all. I've had several discussions with the doctor, and we think it is best to try to guide his
¿Cómo tienen
fantasy.
pensado tomar
He
acción?
once wanted to make a picture book of his imaginary world. But since the disorder progressed too quickly, he never quite got past the
Vale, a
first
ver,
page
un
of the
álbum.
book.
Bueno, ahí está.
So Zuria's son also saw Felixie as a penguin. Oh, he looks so sad.
What we should do now is help him complete this picture book. However, we'll lead the story to a different ending.
Muy bien.
We'll need to chase away his loneliness and sorrow, and let him perceive a world full of hope again.
But if we just need to finish the picture book, why does Femine need to make a Felixie as well?
Because we need to treat the book's story seriously, as if it's a history of things that have really happened. We'll need
Pues
to
lo vamos a
get
hacer, Zuria.
My child can no longer go on a journey of his own. This is why I commissioned Fremine here to craft a Thelxie, and then I'll paint the journey with this Thelxie into the picture book.
De acuerdo.
Ah, like a stand-in for your son. Paimon's starting to get it now. Oh, you really put a lot of thought into this, Zuria. Paimon still has one question, though. Where will we be able to find a Water Imp Kingdom?
There are some ruins on the seabed of the Salacia Plains. I've already asked Fremine to research them for me. We'll be able to use one of the ruins as the kingdom.
Oh, so we'll just need to act out a performance of, a brave journey through the Kingdom of Water Imps. As long as we chase away the monsters in the ruins, it'll count as chasing away the monsters in the Water Imp Kingdom, right?
Sadly, no. We won't just be putting on a performance. It's just as Zuria said. We need to take this seriously, and the only way we can
De
take
acuerdo,
this
todo es
seriously...
real. De acuerdo, me ha quedado claro.
We'll be playing it straight, or, making it a fully immersive experience? Oh, neither of those really sound right.
Sí, sí,
It's
faltaría
all
más.
right. There's no need to get that serious. It's not a big deal. I believe in my son. We can just see this as him wanting to stay asleep
Puede
for
ser.
a bit.
Zuria...
Keep your spirits up, everyone. If we were to look troubled, my son is sure to become anxious as well. I should be heading back right about now to check on my son. We temporarily moved to a place on the hill over there, so my son will have a better spot to convalesce. It's not far from the water, and there's also a great view. Feel free to come find me if anything urgent comes up.
Understood. There's also one last thing. Since these two friends were able to help me out, I've made some more progress on Thelxie.
Qué bien, para mañana ya
That's
estará.
great news. I must thank you all. With that in mind,
Sí,
how
sí,
about
en 2
we
días.
meet
Suena un
for
plan
lunch? All
perfecto.
right, everyone.
Perfecto. Que vaya bien.
Zuria sure is a brave and optimistic lady. Fremine, do you think her plan will work out?
Let's discuss...
Venga, vamos a ver rápidamente. Esta de las 3 misiones, esta es la más larga. Esperemos que dé tiempo en 1 hora de hacerlo todo. A ver. Ahí la
What
tos.
is it, Fremine?
¿Qué pasa? ¿Para qué nos tenemos que preparar mentalmente?
This is the first time that you've met anyone with the
Pues
syndrome,
sí, creo que sí, ¿no?
right?
No lo sé.
I know you two are both really strong and will do everything you can to help the child. But with the syndrome being the way it is, if things don't quite turn out as we wish, I hope you'll be able to accept the outcome and not put too much blame on yourselves.
Fremine, why do you bring this up all of a sudden? Didn't we just promise Zuria that we'll be optimistic about everything working out?
It's not that I'm not optimistic.
Siento que conoces muy bien este trastorno.
Ah, so that's why you looked like you knew exactly what she was talking about.
Puede que también tenga ese problema nuestro querido Freminet.
No. Please don't misunderstand.
Ah, vale, vale.
I've
En la casa
never
de la
had
hoguera.
it. I've just seen many cases of it at the House of the Hearth, back when we lived under the previous director. They say there are many factors surrounding the development of this illness. I've heard everything from hereditary factors
Increíble
and
esto,
one's state of mind, to environmental factors, and even ley line disorder effects. Some even say it could be caused by contamination from god remains. And
Increíble,
from the cases I've seen, there weren't many positive outcomes. In the worst cases, the patient could even pass away.
Pass away,
What?
pass away.
It can get that serious? And here Paimon thought they'd just stop talking as much.
Yeah, that's just the nature of it. So if you'll find it difficult to cope
No te
with the
preocupes, he
worst
estado en
case
situaciones
scenario,
más lamentables.
Yeah, that's right. Paimon's seen all of those things.
Venga, adelante, coño. Sin duda.
But Paimon has a question. If this illness can really be as bad as you've described, then do you really think Zuria's method will be able to help? After all, we'll just be using a toy as Thelxie and some ruins as the Kingdom of Water Imps. The whole adventure will only be turned into a picture book
Bueno,
for
pero
her
algo
someday.
es, Paimon, algo es.
Well, I think it should be able to do something. To harbor a fantasy means that the child wants it, but if we can help him regain control and escape from the darkness.
Oh, Paimon sees what you're saying now. Huh.
Well, maybe because I've also had many of my own dreams in the past.
Pues muy bien, estás hablando de la ciudad de pingüinos que mencionaste antes.
So,
What Penguin Town? Why doesn't Paimon remember? Is that...
Venga, va, adelante, que os enrolléis un poco. Se la coloca, pues que se la coloque.
Hey, why did you put that on?
it's just one of my personal quirks.
De acuerdo.
Anyway, Penguin Town is a peaceful, and Pear is the town's triumphant.
Pear? But didn't you make Pear yourself?
Well, I often think that Pear only came to me.
De acuerdo.
No,
Está
I don't
alucinando,
think
puede que
so.
sí.
I can still differentiate between. It might just be hidden.
Specific time?
Yeah.
Really? Paimon just said that because you put on your helmet.
Have you ever observed the surface world from underwater? It's as if you're viewing.
Hombre,
the
tiene que
whole
ser
different-
brutal, brutalmente
I have a
brutal.
similar feeling when I put on my diving helmet. In those moments.
Really?
¿Me
Like
pasas
a
la escafandra? Yo también quiero probarla.
Well, if that's in order.
Eso sí que era una orden.
Hey, now's not the time. Remedy still has Thelxie's weapon to make. We don't...
Right.
Venga, va.
I still have to collect some tools on.
Venga, adelante,
Thanks for all
coño.
of your help.
Venga, perfecto, se acabó. Esta es la introducción, que es lo más largo. Media hora, un poco más, joder. Hay que ir rápido ya, ¿eh? La siguiente era un poco, creo... Mira, código Morse. Bueno. No sé exactamente qué pondría ahí, pero... Bueno. Creo que ponía... En una de estas ponía alone. O sea, solo. O algo así. Bueno, fuera. Espera 2 días. Bueno, pues esperaremos 2 días. Rápidamente. Pam, pam. Vamos a ver si con esto es suficiente. O sea, ya... Esto ya... Aquí ya son las 12. O sea, sería ya el día siguiente. Por lo tanto... Creo que quedaría esperar otra vez al siguiente día. Claro, llevo ya 33 minutos, pero esta es la más larga. La más corta es esta, la segunda. La tercera no es mucho más larga que la segunda. O sea, que vamos a ver... Vale, ya está, automáticamente ha salido.
Is your child feeling any better?
Thank you for your concern, Fremine.
Está estable, de acuerdo.
Zuria, Fremine, we're here.
Estamos aquí. Buenos días.
Seems like everyone's arrived now.
Not quite. Aren't we missing someone? But...
Telxi, ¿dónde
Hey,
estás?
Thelxie!
¡Qué bonito! ¡Mirad esto! ¡Hostia! ¡Mirad eso! Está armado. ¡Qué bien, joder! ¡Qué hermosura!
Oh, Thelxie's got himself a sword and a shield now. He's looking sharp.
Indeed. With his weapons in hand, Thelxie looks more formidable than ever.
Increíble, ¿eh?
You've
Las
really
cosas que hace Fremine.
Ew.
Yes, you really had a good eye for materials.
Sí, bueno, pero el que lo ha hecho eres tú,
Everything
Fremine.
you found. Speaking of which, Zuria just told me that she wants to end the adventure with the court.
Sí, sí.
You can just keep
Para
an
la
eye
corona,
out for
por
them on
supuesto, adelante.
Everything's...
Please wait a moment. I was just thinking. Since Thelxie has our...
Ooh,
Una nueva hoja del
I'm
libro.
excited now.
¿Y qué dibujamos?
What?
Vale.
So we'll take out the sad parts and replace them with happier stuff.
All right, I'll give it a try. I'm not very adept at drawing, but I've...
Let me think. We can draw the weapon, the prince has picked up the sword of courage and the shield of perseverance.
Pues perfecto, me
Okay,
parece bien.
I'll add the weapons. Anything else?
Paimon wants to give him some friends. Felxie's got some friends by his side now, so he's no longer fighting alone.
Okay, I'll also draw some
Perfecto.
companions.
Todo eso quedaría
Anything
mejor si le
else?
añadimos diferentes colores.
Ah, color, yes, that's
Claro,
really
está
important.
muy soso,
The
muy
road in front
triste,
of
muy
him now
vacío.
will no longer be just gray.
Venga,
Who would have
adelante.
thought the page could have become so inspiring?
Qué
How
bonito.
wonderful.
Venga.
Everyone looks super pumped up. Felxie most of all.
Are you seeing this, my son? Are you feeling inspired by this as well?
Eso es que sí, está claro.
I'm sure he is, Zuria. And this is still just the first page.
That's right! Paimon can't wait to see the picture book when it's all finished. We should finish it as soon as possible and keep...
Venga, vamos.
I'm starting to look...
Yay! Felxie's fantastic adventures begin now!
Perfecto, así empieza el nudo. Es un nudo que se desata rápido, por suerte. Venga, pasado un tiempo llegan a la orilla cercana al reino de los Nixies. Bueno, pues el reino de los Nixies, ¿no? Se puede titular el vídeo, ya que están... al final es donde ocurre todo. Vale. Voy a intentar así rápido. Pam, 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 pam. Bien. Dirígete al reino de los Nixies. Para allá que voy, sin miedo. Perfecto. Pam, pam, pam. Bien. Sí, joder, sí señor, sí señor.
Look! Those are materials that we can use for the crown, right? Let's get some for Fremine.
Mira, una inscripción, no sé qué será, pero bueno. Ahí la dejo. La otra no sé dónde estará, porque si esta ponía 2, es porque tiene que haber uno.
I knew you'd have a knack for finding the best
Bueno, voy a
materials.
coger nada, vámonos,
We shouldn't need anything else to hit.
Por lo visto es aquí.
Is that the entrance to the underwater ruins ahead?
Venga, adelante. Perfecto, ir al desafío. Bueno, pues mis personajes. A ver, Naida. Voy a poner... Bennett, Furina y Shogun. Voy a poner a Furina, pero sobre todo porque quiero probarla. Hay 3 artefactos en mi Furina mejorables aún, la verdad. No sé cuándo tendré yo esa fortuna de que me salgan potentes, pero bueno, de momento pues poco a poco. Venga, va, cárgate. Es que no sé si tocar, no sé si hacer clics. Tengo miedo de que se vaya al escritorio o algo. Vale, ya está. Perfecto. Vamos, vamos. Hostia, qué lugar, qué guapo es este sitio. Buah, mirad eso, mirad eso.
So these are the underwater ruins that Fremine found. They're
Sí,
pretty
recuerda que esto no
amazing,
son
but
unas ruinas,
still
es el
not
reino de
that-
los Nixies.
Oh, yeah, Paimon knows. It's just... Paimon thought we'd
Sí, bueno.
actually see a...
Imagínatelo, Paimon, que
I'm
tienes imaginación.
sorry. I was hoping to
No
put
pasa
up some
nada, ya es momento de activar el modo
decorations.
fantasía.
Whoa, someone's already switched into fantasy mode.
Seems like the travelers already got the gist of things.
Don't underestimate Paimon. Paimon can flip the switch too. Now entering Paimon Fantasy Mode!
Madre mía, Paimon.
Ahem. Young
Eso digo yo.
adventurers, 'tis Paimon, guardian goddess of this land. State your goals and intentions for visiting this nation.
We are the companions of Prince Thalxi, your divine highness.
Correcto.
Oh, reclaiming your glory. Thy goddess here has golden glory, silver glory, and bronze glory. Which is it that the prince has lost?
Huh?
¿Se te olvidó tu personaje?
Not at all! This is the goddess's test! Ahem. From your responses, the goddess has concluded that you're...
Está gracioso, que Paimon interprete el papel de diosa, porque como realmente sea una diosa y nos lo esté ocultando en todo el juego, me voy a reír.
Please accept the goddess's reward. The goddess will now bestow all 3 types of glory upon... And
Venga, muy
as
bien.
for this prince, the goddess will also bestow upon you the rainbow...
Perfecto. Adelante. Sigamos.
My gratitude to your divine highness for such generous blessings.
Me too.
Oh, diosa Paimon, gracias por bendecirnos con tu inspiración.
Ahem. Now, adventurers, forge bravely ahead and defeat the monsters that have taken over the kingdom.
Lo que tú digas, diosa Paimon. Vale. Bueno, hay que utilizar la letra T.
Please be careful, brave adventurers. Just as some evil enemies that have invaded the kingdom.
Voy a usarla ahora cuando aparezcan
They're called
enemigos. Bueno, aquí mismo.
heroes of the deep.
Vale, aún tengo que saber, sobre todo, aprender a
Those
utilizar a...
accursed enemies are back again. Your Highness, please show them what you're made of.
Ahí está, a mi querida Furina. Tengo que aprender a utilizarla todavía. Bueno, eso es cuestión de ir viendo. Pero bueno, de momento las palizas se las están llevando, ¿eh? Eso está genial, tío.
Shine down! We're under attack again. It's a Lawitcher of the deep.
There's no need to fear, my friends. His Highness is so strong now that even a diviniture of the deep will pose no threat to him.
Madre mía, qué roturas que hago, qué roturas que hago. Habla con Freminet. Bueno, pues ya está. Así de rápido.
It's finally over.
Ya podemos recuperar el reino.
It should now be time for us to attend Thelxie's coronation ceremony.
Venga, vamos.
It was my mistake. I should have told Fremine earlier that we would also need a crown.
It's all because the traveler and goddess Paimon were...
It's okay, Zuria.
Then I must thank all of you.
Perfecto.
Foxy's turning out to be a real expert at fight.
I don't think there's anything that will be able to stop him.
Yes, I agree as well.
Let's head back to camp for now.
Venga, vámonos.
Add an update to Thelxie.
Y así terminamos de dibujar, correcto. Vale, pues estamos cerca ya de terminar la segunda, ¿eh? El nudo es cortito. Solo quedará el desenlace y me quedarán unos 20 minutos, ¿eh? Venga, vamos, vamos, coño. Orden del abismo. Cuidado, con la orden del abismo. Cuidado, cuidado con la orden del abismo. Que sale eso ahí. Uf. Bueno, vamos a ver, coño, cárgate, joder. Estoy aquí media hora esperando a que te cargues, tío. Odio estos momentos. Sin prisa, tú tranquilo. Solo existes tú, juego. Venga, va.
Zuria and Fremine, why don't we draw
Venga,
them
tú lo que
witnesses?
quieres es ver cómo dibujan a la diosa Paimon.
Hey, you didn't have to say it out loud.
No problem.
Venga, vamos
I'm
a
happy
dibujar.
to oblige. Then in that, after overcoming many obstacles, Prince Thelxie and his brave companions finally arrived at the entrance to the kingdom of Water-Imp. At this time, the little fairy in the group,
Ahí está, ahí está.
Paimon, revealed her true goddess form to
Paimon
her
era una diosa
companions.
encubierta. Joder, cuidado con eso,
The goddess has arrived. She praised the companions for their purity and
Qué bonito.
Bathed under the goddess's glory, the prince and his companions charged into the bastion of evil.
Y los derrotamos a
No,
todos.
the crown isn't ready yet.
No. The crown was within the prince's reach.
No, esa corona es nuestra.
Paimon can almost see it all. Whoa, the pages are beautiful.
Thank you, everyone. We've also completed the second page of the picture
Perfecto.
child. You'll all...
I'm sure he will, Zuria.
I sure hope so, Your Divine.
Please don't worry. One day should be more than enough.
Ah, then I must thank you for your hard work.
Vale, dentro de 2
All
días.
right,
Aquí
let's-
estaremos.
And see you in 2 days, my lovely
Venga,
friends.
adiós. Un placer. Venga. Qué bonito, qué bonito.
Hmm,
All right, it's
Bueno,
about
se ha ido
time we start
tarareando.
heading off, too. You've still got some work.
Yeah. I'll need to go to the
Eso sí que es
city
tener
shortly
pasión por
to-
el trabajo.
Paimon knew that you didn't often take commissions from others.
Ah,
¿Por qué? ¿Por qué?
it's because...
What's the matter? And what's with that look on your face? You're...
Am I turning red?
Paimon, no se lo ponga más difícil.
all right. We...
Okay.
Venga, hasta dentro de 2 días.
Thank you.
Chao. Un saludo. Vale, pues ya está, por favor.
I hope that everyone who's found themselves in a dark
Cuidado, cuidado,
place
cuidado.
would be able to see something beautiful.
¡Qué bonito! Vale, nudo completado, perfecto. Hay que esperar 2 días más. Rápidamente. Bueno, esto ya lo haré yo fuera de grabación, que son minijuegos para ganar protogemas. A ver, dentro de 2 días. Pam, pam. Supongo yo que hasta ahí suficiente. Perfecto, vamos a ver, que hoy voy a comer potaje, señores. Y cuando uno va a comer potaje, ya se tiene que despertar motivado, ¿eh? Es un automatismo. Si no te despiertas motivado sabiendo que vas a comer potaje, tienes un problema. O varios. O sea, no digo ovarios, sino que varios. problemas. Vale, a ver.
Today's the final day of Felix's fantastic adventures. Let's go
Qué
find
bien.
Fermine at his camp.
Ay, último día. Esto va a ser un pelín más largo que la segunda,
Hello,
pero
Paimon.
intentaré ir rápido yo también.
Is the crown ready?
Yes.
La corona, perfecto, que llegue Zuria.
For a little while. Or actually, maybe we can go find her.
Vale, pues vamos a ir para allí.
Hey, traveler, Paimon.
Hombre,
Oh, and speaking of,
de la
Found
Roche.
you two at long last.
huh? Why are you here, Miss?
What could have happened? That water imp Felixy, of course. After I gave you that
Ha
commission.
averiguado más sobre el niño.
Oh, that? We've got it all figured out now. The boy you heard about was
Correcto,
just
pues ya
Fremont.
está.
Fremine diving? No, what I was told is that about a month ago, a child tied a bunch of heavy
Hostia.
seashells onto his body and walked
Hombre,
into
esto es un
this
poco
open
trágico,
stretch of
¿no?
wa- 100% sure. I've confirmed the account with several veteran
8 años se
fishermen
llamaba
I know.
Lescott. Lescott
The child
Destre,
was
igual que el
only
apellido de
8 years
Zuria.
Wait, let's go to Stray?
Yeah, that's the name. They say the family took on the name after moving to the city from a place
Su padre
called
murió hace
Stray.
mucho.
And,
Hostia.
well, naturally, his mother was devastated by the incident and fell terribly ill. It's said that she
Pues
left
ahí
the
arriba
court
está.
of
It can't be, right?
Será mejor que visitemos la
I'm
casa de
sorry,
Zuria.
miss. We've got...
Oh,
Sí, sí, un placer de la Roche y gracias por contarnos algo tan trágico como eso. Vale. Hombre, estamos viendo esto así por encima, que la historia es un poco trágica, ¿eh? Un poco turbia incluso. Siempre en este juego la paga a los niños, tío. Es increíble. Venga, va. Cárgate, por favor. Gracias. A ver, el tema está ahí. Bueno, pues vamos para allí. A ver, ¿quién hay aquí? What's happening?
Excuse us. Is anyone here?
Who are you? I have a patient here who needs quiet bed rest.
Bueno, a ver, ¿quién es la paciente? La puerta se abre tras un breve momento de silencio. Aparece un hombre con mirada
This is the
confusa.
residence of Zuria Destree, and I am Jala Khan, her family doctor. What did you mean by your question just now?
Your patient should be Zuria's son, right? She told us herself that her son had contracted loneliness syndrome.
No, you're right. Young Master Lescaut did have that illness once upon a time, but he's...
Cuidado, cuidado.
Well, the young master's no longer with us. And now the Madame has come down with the same illness. Are you her friends, by any chance?
Sí, sí, somos amigos. Le cuentan al doctor todo lo que vivieron durante los últimos días con algunas no sé qué.
So, when she had requested...
So, if I'm understanding this right, the one who's suffering...
That is correct. When the young master disappeared, she was organizing an art
Jo, qué
exhibit.
putada.
That might have been the trigger for her regret. Or perhaps the family's fall into loneliness and grief was inevitable.
Ya, muy trágico todo.
How could that be? She really looked like she had a handle on everything.
Those actions are proof that she can no longer differentiate between fantasy and reality.
Then, all the other things that she told...
No,
Hombre,
those
no,
were
parece
all
que no.
real. Although they were all things that happened before the young master.
I see. So after her son left, she
cómo se
created
encuentra
a
Zuria?
She has been in a good mood the past few days, even humming a song when she returned from her stroll. She even began discussing with me the idea of using deliberate guidance to ease. She spent a whole night staring at the shell the young
Una
master
caracola.
left behind, and the words that he had inscribed onto it.
But then what should we do? How...
Don't panic, Paimon. Even though this is a devastating piece of...
Sí.
What should we do? I need to think. I need to remember the old house of the hearth.
Adelante,
Dr.
Fermine.
Jala Khan, have you seen a picture book?
Are you thinking about trying the guide?
De acuerdo. No, Fermine tiene experiencias ya en estas
Yes.
cosas.
This is it.
Deberemos continuar a poner fin a las
That's
aventuras
right.
del libro.
If what Dr. Jala Khan said was true, the
De acuerdo,
past,
pues
we
eso es lo
need
que
to
vamos a
show
hacer.
her that her child has found a happy ending in the world of her dreams.
But wouldn't that just make it harder for her to accept reality?
One must first face reality before accepting it. The Madame has been crushed.
Vale, hay que sacarla
by
de
the
ese estado.
Right.
Perfecto.
Before today, I had thought she wanted to use Thelxie's fantastic adventures to
Pues también puede
and
ser.
if we could complete it, We should be able to give her some feeling of inspiration.
Démosle una oportunidad a este libro. Venga, vámonos. Perfecto, a tope. Ve al reino de los Nixies. Nixes, o como se diga. Vale, rápidamente, vamos para allí. Bueno, pues ya no queda tanto, señores. Voy a buen ritmo, soy matemático. Con Genshin, calibrando los tiempos. Venga, vamos a ver. Entonces hay que meterse aquí. Reino. Un momento. Reino, coño, reino. Ahí. Ir al desafío, adelante. Bueno, voy a elegir lo de antes. Pam. Venga, adelante. A tope. De momento quiero utilizar a Furina, aunque con Yelan sería más rápido porque la tengo bien. Furina aún está pendiente, pero... Último capítulo. De acuerdo. Vale, no hay que preocuparse. A sonreír, chavales. Confiemos en que así será, Paimon. Venga, a pelear. Y rápido. Y por lo visto puedo utilizar a Freminet. Que en este evento nos regalan a Freminet, tío. Perfecto, sí señor. Adelante, Furina. Demuestra que lo puedes todo, joder. Madre mía, Freminet, sí señor. Qué potencia que tiene, chaval. Claro, lo bueno de Furina es que va... Realmente es muy polivalente, o sea, puede encajar en muchos equipos. Eso está genial, tío. Abandona el reino, dice. Pues ya está, ¿no? Joder, qué bien, qué velocidad. Ya estamos en la fase final, señores. Ahora a ver lo que tarda en cargarse, que esa es otra. Vale, parece que ya está, perfecto.
But, Madame, you're...
Don't try to stop me. Today's the most important day for treating...
Bien dicho, Zuria.
I'm not trying to stop you, Madame. It's just...
Dr. Jalacan, how can you forget the name of your own patient? His name is Thelxie. He's the prince of the kingdom of water imps.
Exacto.
I see. Madame.
Ya estamos aquí. Bien, lo hemos conseguido, joder.
Paimon, everyone, have you really?
Yes, but the coronation ceremony still hasn't taken place.
Exacto.
Wonderful, how wonderful. Thelxie, my child, are you hearing this? Everything you lost will now come back to you,
And the last page of the picture book.
Right, the picture book.
Venga, a dibujar.
Thelxie and his friends...
Okay.
At last, Thelxie and his friends were able to drive off the final invasion.
Qué bonito.
Water imps, finally returning to their homes, showered the prince with love and applause
Bueno,
as he...
pues ahí está todo. El final.
The prince stepped onto the rainbow bridge. Huh? Where's the last person? The prince looked frantically around, but...
The prince could not hold back his tears. He recognized then that the mysterious person that had been by his side, Zuria, walked across the bridge and placed the crown above the prince's head.
That's the end of the story, sir.
Thank you.
Bueno, pues ya está.
I'm so sorry, my child. Maman should have spent more time with you. Maman loves you too.
Oh.
What's happening? Is Zuria talking
¿Y qué está diciendo Thelxie?
Quick, put on my diving helmet. There's a
Hostia, qué bueno. Adelante. Freminet se acerca sosteniendo su escafandra entre las manos y te la coloca en la cabeza. A ver. ¡Oh! ¿Con qué eso es lo que está diciendo?
Mama loves you too.
¡Qué bonito!
But I love you more, Maman.
Un momento, ¿qué es esto?
What? Did you see something?
Maman, I'm getting a little sleepy. If it's time for bed, can you hum a lullaby to me again?
Of course, my dearest child. As long as you want to hear it, Mama will always hum for you.
Bueno.
Thank you, Mammon. Your lullaby has always been my favorite.
Qué
My
bonito.
poor darling. Please don't forget. I will always love you. My love is greater than the entire distance.
I won't forget, Mammon. And so is my love for you. Greater than the entire distance between here and the kingdom of water imps. Good night, Mammon.
Bueno. Oh. Bueno, una bonita imagen de despedida. Nada mal, señores, qué bonito. Bueno, a ver lo que tarda esto ahora. Ya estamos en la última escena. Ahora sí. 3 días después, en el campamento de Freminet, solo queda esto.
Paimon, you're here.
Sí, ya estamos aquí.
Why did you call us in such
A ver qué ocurre.
It's definitely great news. The
Oh, qué bien,
Madame
está bien,
she
está
said
mejorando.
she'd like to return to the court to continue hosting the art exhibit.
Expondrá el síndrome de la
Of
soledad.
course,
Qué bueno.
Thelxie's fantastic adventures and the guidance there.
Pues nada mal, me alegro.
wonderful?
Here,
Oh, nos dan un libro.
But this is her son's story, right?
don't worry. It's just a copy. She still
Ah, vale, vale, vale.
Then there's no problem. It feels good knowing we've contributed to something important.
Paimon, do you know what the Madame said? She said that at the moment when she placed the crown on Thelxie's head, she felt like she really saw something beautiful. Her child had returned, and he told her that he loved her. She also said that was when she was finally able to bid farewell to her son. She felt like at that moment, she was healed by some mystical power.
Oh, really? But could that just be another part of her fantasy?
Perhaps. But if fantasy is just fantasy, and the fantasy world is not real,
Bueno, quizá las fantasías son mucho más que meras fantasías.
But what else could it be?
a descent of the fairy tale world into the real world. At that time,
Claro que sí, joder.
you saw it too, didn't you?
What? That can't be what happened, right? There's just no way.
Yes, I suppose that would be a miracle. I hope that everyone who's found themselves in a dark place would be able to see something beautiful and experience a miracle for themselves.
Esto es lo que dijo al final del segundo día también. Bueno, pues ya está, señores. Nada mal, joder. Bueno, todos los minijuegos, eso yo ya lo haré fuera de grabación. Pero nos dan ahí las fantásticas aventuras de Thelxie. Nada mal. Broche de Thelxie. Bueno, eso es para... Nos regalan a Freminet cuando hayamos reunido varias cositas, ¿de acuerdo? O sea que, bueno, que lo sepáis. No lo mostraré el momento exacto en el que lo reciba, pero nos lo regalan. Por lo tanto, es importante. Y bueno, por aquí, esto ya ha caducado, me da igual eso. Aquí, mirad, aquí nos dan el librito que hemos visto. Qué bonito, de verdad. Ahora sí, está todo completito. Así que nada, pues hemos terminado esto. No sé si habrá alguna cosilla escondida. Cuando terminamos estas misiones a veces dejan alguna cosa por ahí, pero no sé realmente si habrá algo ni dónde. Así que bueno, coño, yo lo voy a dejar en la estatua, que es donde hemos empezado. Y ya cuando vuelvan a sacar nuevo mapa, que yo creo que será el último de Fontaine, pues tocará volver y reventar Fontaine del todo. Solo quedarán 2 regiones más, señores. Y quién sabe después si algo más, porque claro, queda Natlan, que es la región Piro, es Neznaya, que es la región Crio. Y quién sabe si saldrá algo de Caenria o qué pasará ahí. Pero yo de momento me despido y no me enrollo más. Disfrutad de vuestros días, pero recordad sobre todo de vuestras noches. ¡Hasta la próxima!